Hi, everybody. This is Jeffrey from Ripe Color and
Lori
Lori.
from Way of Positive Change.
And Lori is my third guest, and I'm very excited because Lori has been very, very sweet to me. And we had one. Did we do one with Sheila? It was the three of us where you made this incredible joke. I don't even know what it was, but it was like, I think it made the whole video.
I don't even remember, but we had a great time.
We really did. So this is Tarot Tuesdays. So the my agenda for Tarot Tuesdays is to go through the entire deck in order, because otherwise it just doesn't make any sense. Oh, I'll just pull a card and then you pull the same card, 4 times. So this week, so the first week we did the Fool. The second week we did the Magician, and now we're up to card number 2, but is the third card, which is wait, I have to do a little magic. The High Priestess. The High Priestess, a fascinating card. Really, it's for me, it's like an outlier. It's almost like it fits into the story, but kinda in a certain way. So since you're my guest, I would appreciate, and my viewers would appreciate, what is your feeling, what is your interpretation, and what say your experience with the High Priestess?
Okay, so when I first started reading, I used to always keep her on the top of my deck because I felt akin to her, because she represents your psychic ability, receptivity, going deep within to hear the answers, or to hear your guide's voice, and a knowing. And then as I continued to study, as we all do, from various authors and creators of different decks, you pull a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and put it all together. So, in a relationship, she means one thing, and then in as a business, if you're asking about business, then you get a whole nother meaning to her that way. The symbology is in the history and the mythology is so deep. This card is almost like an oracle unto itself.
Yeah.
With the references, some deck creators referred to her as the only female pope who disguised herself to be elected, and then gave birth on the steps of the Vatican, or there was some sort of procession, and then everyone figured out who she was, and she died right there. They said she was pregnant or she was trampled, I don't know. And then there's the Catholic Italian Association of Manfreda Visconti, and she was also supposed to be a female pope, papist. Is that the way we say it? And she was supposed to be like the sort of the birth of bringing more of the divine feminine to the Catholic Church.
Right.
And the Catholic Church didn't like that very much. In 1300, they burned her as a witch, so that she didn't make it. So there are some depictions that there's a lot of history too. And if you hear thunder, we're having a big storm, so I apologize in advance. So there's references to both of those female pope characters. And it is very much female, but it's also male. So the 2 pillars that are in the picture and on either side of her, of Joachim and Boaz, right? And those pillars are repeated throughout the major arcana.
Right. They show up in Justice. They show up in the Hierophant. They even show up in the Moon if you really look closely. Yep.
Yeah, and the moon is actually supposed to be the picture of them from the backside after you've gone through the gate. You're in the pool of water that's behind the veil.
Right.
That she has separating you from her knowledge.
Right.
So, and those, you know, and those pillars are representative of the male and the female, the yin, the yang, the, you know, the restrictive or the, and authoritative, or the mercy.
Yeah, it's the first card that duality shows up in a really strong, because the, you know, the Fool is really, to me, unborn, right? And then the, it's like pre-birth, right? It's like the soul. And then the Magician is like, is born, is, and owns his own body, and owns that he's on the earth, and owns his tools, and he's a leader, he's a one. And then she comes along, and it's like, you know, now that you're here,
Let's talk.
I'm going to show you this, but I'm not going to show you that. Or maybe I will, or maybe I won't. She's a little bit of a, right? Yeah, because the veil, and then it doesn't. And then it's there. And, you know, it's almost like the moon at night. It's cloudy. The moon appears, the moon disappears. The moon appears. It's a little bit like that.
Yes, she has a lunar crown.
Right.
And with all 3 stages of the moon. So in that way, you can even use that as timing in the tarot if you want to.
Right.
And whereas the Magician has his tools right on the table, hers are hidden, right? And she knows when to speak and when to remain silent. She also knows that holding on to those secrets, you know, she's where loose lips sink ships came from.
Right.
Zipit.com.
And some people thought it was the Lusitania. No, it was the High Priestess.
She's mysterious. The thing is, as I kept using the tarot and doing the readings and reading for myself, I realized she would show up because she's your unconscious thoughts, you know, and for you to reflect on and to really go deep. And then she started to come up like, are you aware that you might be causing this problem? Like, can you see clearly that where some of your unconscious actions or thoughts could be coming from, or you might be making a problem or even a karmic situation? So I had to really get into that part of it.
Yeah, almost like hiding a secret from oneself. Like, and sometimes, you know, an individual has a certain personality trait or something, and everybody sees it except for them. And then all of a sudden, it's revealed. It's like, oh, I've been selfish this whole time. Everybody else is right, or whatever. I'm just an example. Yeah, I could see how that makes sense to me. Yeah.
When she comes up, it's like, okay, what are you creating?
Yeah, because she's the mistress of creation. I really see her like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she really is. So I agree with that, you know, like the seed in the earth, you know, she's before it, and then you water it, you know, because she has the pool of water, be the divine or divinatory water behind her. And then the pomegranates on the veil, you know, and then in Crowley's deck, you know, she's partially revealing and in the silvery cloth, you know. So she's depicted many different ways, but she really is the keeper of the secrets.
Yeah.
And you know, in relationships, when she comes up, it can mean, you know, there's less sex involved, or you could be like the virgin nun, you know.
I see.
With the
almost like Vesta. Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
And or she could be the mistress, you know, in romance,
hiding, right?
The secret lady, right? And if you're asking about business, it could be someone behind the scenes,
right?
Or it could be,
or you don't know the whole story. You think you know the whole story, but you don't know the whole story,
right?
Something like that, right?
Yeah, or someone with a hidden agenda,
right?
You know, so you have to go deep and check all the angles and look in all the corners and flip all the lights on.
Right, because she's just as comfortable in the dark as she is in the light.
Yes.
You know, which is really fascinating. because there's certain energies, it's like really comfortable in the light, and certain energies really comfortable in the dark, but she can go either way. She's like, don't worry, I got an outfit for that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, I think sometimes we may have to give her a coin or something to get the information. It's like a permission sometimes.
Yeah.
That she's holding. And then her book, a lot of people think it is the book of law, the Torah.
Right.
But it doesn't have the last letter.
Right.
Showing. So sometimes they say, what's the hidden knowledge, the hidden secrets, or does it say, does it say tarot,
Right.
So it's just, there's so much symbology with her. She is one of the most difficult cards, for me at least.
I agree.
To understand, and her placement and what comes up on what she's flanked by, who accompanies her, man. It isn't easy.
Yeah. And it's interesting you should say that, because it's almost as if, because it's almost like you want to, so here she is, right? And then something comes near her and you want to say, oh, that influences her. Or is she so powerful that she brought that next card up? Is she so powerful that she's like, it's like she holds all that power. And it's like, I'll give you a crumb. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
She brought that.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to try to think of it more.
Well, so, for me, I always get Isis. It's Isis 101. And that whole story of Isis is that Isis is married to Osiris, her brother, her husband, whatever. And then whatever, I don't want to get his whole story. He's chopped up into a million pieces and he's thrown in all over. And she finds all his pieces, except she can't find his sex organ. So she builds one and sits on it and gives birth to a god. It's like, she's also this representation of the Shekhinah, which is the feminine aspect of the Godhead, which is really found in the Kabbalah. It's not really found in middle of the road Judaism, right? But it's found in the Kabbalah, and the Shekhinah is the understanding of the feminine aspect of the Godhead. Is really the power. That's really
the powers. Yeah.
Right. That's really the power. And that hides, and it says, oh, God is a man. A little bit of that. So there's this real deep mystery understanding. And it's kind of like, I also, whenever I get her, it's either, a lot of times it's pay attention to your dreams. What are you feeling? But a lot of times it's like, almost like we were saying before, what are you subconsciously creating? And it could be either way, because we have like the dark and the light. So subconsciously, you could be telling yourself, I'm going to get that money, just for an example, or you could be telling yourself, I'll never get that money. And I think like some of the crumbs that she reveals is, well, what's really going on inside of you? Because, we learned in The Magician that you can create your reality. And here she's saying, but it's much deeper than that. It's not just what you think. It's about how you feel. It's about what's behind the scenes. It's a deeper level of that, and to unearth it, if she will allow, right? Because sometimes, things about ourselves in our lives, like secrets that we keep from ourselves, sometimes they're not supposed to be revealed at that moment. Sometimes it's like you're supposed to sit with it for a month or two or a week, so that you could digest it or something, or it just wasn't the right time. And she gets all that. She sort of gets all that. It's a very profound card. Very.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And she also has, when she comes up, you might have an aha moment about a situation where you weren't really in your power, and you maybe gave your power away somehow, or
right.
a situation that you hadn't quite reconciled or figured out, and then you see her, and then you're like, oh, maybe if I just would have been more bold, or perhaps if I, so it's that secret of what you can do next, or how to rectify a situation, and what your deep, you know, unconscious thoughts are,
Right.
and how to grab, really going deep,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes also she comes up, Jeffrey, especially with, you know, we've had COVID, you know, and so she'll come up as a, you know, maybe you've been spending too much time inside, you know, maybe you're in your cave or in your nunnery, and you're, you know, just hanging out in there for so, and you need to come out some more.
Yeah.
There's just there are so many layers to her.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful card.
It is. It is. And it's also, it's a 2. So
It is.
2 is like a choice, and so 2 is a choice, but it's also a duality. You know, it's a fork in the road. It's like, well, am I going to go with, say, what's easy, or what am I going to go with what's more fulfilling? Am I going to go with what's in front of me, or am I going to go for something deeper? So it's always, because at the end of the day, we all have the choice, right? And it's almost like she's revealing that to you. She's revealing that, oh, you know, you think that you have no power, but actually you have the power of creation, right? And you've been creating this whole time. So let's see what you've been creating and what you actually want to create. Are you on the road that, you know, you want to be on, or are you heading, you know, east instead of south?
Right. And so you can use your own intuition and honor your own inner mystic, or your inner God voice, and or it could actually mean maybe you need to seek wise counsel.
Right.
You know, maybe you need to go see someone who can throw some bones on the trail and show you which way to go.
Yeah.
Don't go that way. There's a wild boar up there. No.
Yeah. No. And that, yeah. It's that has a similar, it's a little like the hermit is a little bit like that. The hermit could be your own inner voice, your own soul, but it could also be a mentor. It could also be, you know, someone outside of yourself, like a sage. Say, hey, sage, what do you think? Could be that. Yeah. Fascinating.
She's one of my most favorites. Well, I used to keep her on top of the deck all the time.
So, you know, it's no mistake, because I was, you know, because I just decide the week of, it's like, okay, I'm going to ask this person, I'm going to ask and you know, I thought of you, and I was like, oh, she's perfect for the High Priestess. She's perfect.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, I was like, oh yeah, no, that's the one. You know
I was
what I mean?
so honored when you asked, but I was like, well, why do I get the hardest card?
Well, because you have the talent.
Oh, thank you.
But it's not a hard card. It's a misunderstood card, because there are so many layers, and because it dances so in a different. It's almost as if it's like the most, or she is like the most perfect dance instructor. So it's like she could do a waltz, she could do a cha-cha, she could do ballet. You know what I mean? Because most cards, like, they could do like 3 or 4 different kind of dances. This one doesn't mean a thing to her. Doesn't mean a thing to her. You want her to grow another leg, you know what I mean? It's like she could dance with 1 leg, she could dance with 3. She doesn't need music. She doesn't need, because she's the mystery, right? So the mystery, it really, it's like the dark matter that encompasses all, in a way.
Right. What was the name of the lady that used to dance in the water all the time?
She was married to, I know who you mean.
Yeah.
From the 50s.
Underwater.
She was Lorenzo Lamas's mother.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Shit, I can't think of her.
It's okay. We honor her anyway. The High Priestess could dance underwater too.
Yeah. I can't remember her name. I saw an interview with her on YouTube, and she did some movies with the guy who played Tarzan. And there were parts of it where she was in one pool and she had to go to another pool, but it was like an underwater tunnel that she had to swim through and he'd be swimming behind her. She said she swam so fast because he was always trying to grab her.
It was a real tired.
It's with an E. It's
Ethel?
Ethel or Esther.
Not
Esther
Ethel.
Williams. Esther Williams.
I
Isn't
think
that
so.
it? Yeah. Yeah. Esther Williams. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the High Priestess helped us.
There you go.
The High Priestess helped us. And she is very watery. She's all blue. So like not only does she refer to Isis, she refers to Juno. She refers to Mary. She because Isis, if you know about Isis, you see all the ancient statues of Isis, it's the Pieta. It's her with the baby. You see it all the time. Her with the baby. It's the same symbology, the same stories that are reinterpreted and reconfigured and renamed throughout the history of the world. And it really harkens back to the feminine as being the magic because women give birth. And I think women were amazed by it. And I think men were, before we understood what was going on, it's like, what? There's something alive in you? Like, wow. Even now, just to plant a seed in the ground and it becomes a flower or a fruit, or it's like, wow.
It is amazing.
You have to be in that, like, so there's a wonder to her.
Yes.
It's a wonder.
Wonder and amazement.
Wonder, I love that.
And visionary.
Yes. Yeah.
You're right about the blue. The blue is everywhere. In the pool of water behind her, in her cloak.
Yeah. And there's an energy for me in blue. Blue is not my favorite color because it's eternal. It's endless. It's endless. Like red really feels like it's here, right? Yellow is kind of like the spirit in the sky, but blue, it's like it just goes on forever, and it's a little you can feel lost and kind of overwhelmed in blue, in my humble opinion.
Do you feel that way when you stand by the ocean?
I could, yeah.
Are you you're more of an earth person then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm a water sign, so you would think, but I have a lot. Because I have like a lot in Scorpio, like 3 planets and an asteroid, or 5, whatever.
You have a stellium?
Yeah, I have
Scorpio.
stellium. It's a Sun, Neptune, Mercury, Ceres conjunct. And then I have my rising is Virgo, and then I have Uranus and Pluto conjunct. 12th house, Virgo. Yeah. So
you just really are more in tune with your Virgo side than more than the water.
No, I go back and forth. I do.
Yeah, well, that's why you're doing this work too.
Yeah. I try to bring a marriage of like, I'm getting an intuitive hit, but it's like, well, does it make sense? It's got, hopefully both of them are on the same page. If they're not, then sometimes I sort of sit and wait.
Yeah, it's a brilliant mix.
Yeah,
it's who you are.
Yeah,
I love this. I do love this card though, and I can see the Isis. I actually haven't thought about Isis for a long time, but yes.
Yeah, it's the Isis that to me it's and also it's very Egyptian. If you look, especially in the Rider-Waite, these pillars are lotus, and that's what the Egyptians.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow. There's just so much symbology, and the pomegranates.
Yeah, that's the feminine aspect of fertility. It's the womb, basically. And then the palm is the male aspect.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the Greek mythology, is it Persephone that goes down the steps deep, deep, deep into the, so there's some links to her as well with
Right,
specific.
because she ate the seeds, right? And that's why she wasn't able to leave. See, what happened was Hades got her, and then he gave her 3 pomegranate seeds. And because of that, he like sealed it, like, you ain't leaving. That's the deal. You know, he didn't tell her before, he just gave it to her. And then when Demeter, her mother, comes down to get her and say, give me back my daughter, give me back my daughter, give me back my daughter. And Demeter is part of the triplicate goddess up here, right? Hades is like, no, she ate the seeds, tough noogies. And, but so then Zeus has to get involved and become the, like the diplomat. And then they make a deal that Persephone can be on Earth for 6 months and then below in the underworld for 6 months. And that's how we get the seasons. I know my mythology.
See how many different directions
Yeah.
this card goes into. Yeah, so it's really, it's one that most students, I think, will stumble on when they're learning and pairing. You know, I would try to learn pairing with her and, you know, other cards around her. But I think the aspect that, well, I think what you said about she brings this into you, you know, like this is a secret that she's revealing to you, and she brings this to you, a nugget. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. And she brings it. You can't demand. It's like, it's about sitting, it's about really being part of that feminine energy of allowing and accepting. It's not, because that, it won't work. It's kind of like, you know how like there are certain mothers that like that what she made for dinner, right? And then the kid's like, oh, yeah, she goes, you're not eating anything. You know, you don't like meatballs and spaghetti, or you know, Lynn, you know, eat nothing. A little bit of that.
Yeah, she's wise that way.
Yeah.
She won't sit there and think, well, oh no, what if they don't eat, then they go to bed, you know.
She is a goddess. You don't demand, you are in gratitude, accept. She's a goddess. This is not like dealing with like one of the minors.
No.
You know, she's a goddess.
She is seated like the figure in the Justice and the Hierophant.
Right.
But she is much different, and she looks directly at you. Of course they do too, but
yeah, but she has more of a gaze. Like, yeah, I know what you mean.
She isn't a profile like the queens, like many queens are.
Right.
So it's very serious, very deep knowing. She'd probably pierce you with her gaze.
Yeah.
You probably feel like you couldn't keep any secrets to yourself if she.
No, you can't. You can't. There's no hiding here. There's no hiding here. Whereas both of the like Justice and the Hierophant I always see is female actually, but the Hierophant and Justice are both based in the earth plane. You know, the Hierophant is about tradition. It's about like a corporation or a religion or blah, blah, blah. And Justice could be about the court. I mean, I think it's divine justice, but it manifests itself on this plane. She is creating from here. She's creating from here. And then it's sort of like, it comes down like a mist or something. And it's like, oh, yeah, it's a different energy. She's in a completely different dimension.
Yeah.
Really than all the other cards, I would say.
Yes. And Justice and Hierophant are very right brain.
Right.
And she's Justice and Hierophant are left brain.
Right. Yeah.
And she's the right brain of creativity and intuition and psychic ability.
Right. Well, I think we did a fantastic job explaining this card.
That was deep.
It's a deep card.
Yes,
it's not a oh well, she's blue and she represents water, and you know, or maybe the moon is gonna, you know, it's not.
And you might be psychic today.
Yeah. And when I was first reading, like a long time ago. Whenever she would come up, I would be like, it was almost like saying, well, you're not going to get the answer in this reading. That's how I always used to feel about her. It's like, you're just not going to get the answer in this reading. I'm like, but now I've really come to understand and have experience with her where it's like allow it to come, you know, like ask and allow. That's my interpretation. That's your, I think we did a fantastic job, actually. So tell us about what's going on your channel so that all of my subscribers can subscribe to you.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I do a live every Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern and every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Mhm.
And I'm going to be doing a tarot class coming up pretty quick. I'm going to announce that probably on the community page. And I'm doing a couple of collaborations with Denise from Spiritual Growth Tarot. And tomorrow I'm going to be on Circle of Friends with Allie and Kelly. And tonight I'm doing a thing with Johnny from Tarot's Apprentice, some soul chat. And just going, I'm making some rounds, man.
Yeah, it's interesting how we all grow and evolve in our channels. And, I do daily. So like the daily is like, it's a lot. And then I also do weeklies, but I do weeklies for all signs. And then I do monthlies for all. So I make like 90 videos a month.
Yeah, that's a
So
lot.
it's really a
Yeah.
lot. So I'm trying to figure out how to make them more, that's why I wanted to do this thing. Like, okay, what's the interpretation of the card? And then I don't know what else I'll do, but it'll figure me out, or I'll figure it out, or whatever. She'll tell me.
Yes, she will tell you.
If I walk around Mexico City in a blue dress and something in my hair, no one will notice me anyway. No one even notices this. And maybe she'll reveal it to herself to me through Guadalupe.
Yes, there you go. And
Yeah.
a lot of things on my channel deal with today's current hot topics, political questions. But just the other day I was reading on Bitcoin and gold and the economy and the housing market. So it goes all over the place.
Yeah, that's good.
So just try to have fun and be informative and help people.
Right. That's why we're here. That's why
Yes.
we're here. Absolutely.
And to make new friends.
Exactly.
You.
Exactly. So maybe I said, since you're in Florida and so maybe I can go to the Gulf and you can go to the Gulf, and maybe we can meet on one of those islands that's like dead in the middle.
What island would that be?
I don't know. There are plenty of islands in the Caribbean, that's for sure.
Well, yes. I mean, we would have to go more towards there. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be fun, like St. Kitts or St. John or something.
Yeah, probably like Cuba, because Cuba's kind of big and it kind of attaches the Yucatan to Mexico, to Florida. It's sort of like a land bridge in a way. We'll be in Havana. We'll meet in Havana.
Okay.
That'll be fun. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. And I really appreciate it. And blessings to you, and blessings to all of you.
Thank you. It was nice meeting everyone. And it was an honor to be here with you today. Thanks for asking.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, now I have to figure out how to turn off the recording.